Today we're gonna make 3-ingredient peanut butter cookies. And the first tip I'm gonna give you guys is when you're measuring out your peanut butter, spray it with some non-stick spray, like spray the measuring cup so that you don't end up with the peanut butter just sticking to the cup and spending forever trying to get it out. So that is a super important tip that will just make it really easy. Like, I got most of the peanut butter out just now, and usually it takes forever to get all of it out. So now all you need is an egg. And I'm not using our current bougie eggs, the pasture-raised eggs, because we bought a few the other day. We were running short. I needed one for a recipe, and Anna drove to the gas station to get me one, or to get a dozen. And honestly, there's nothing wrong with eating conventional eggs. They're still a superfood. They're still amazing for you. It's just better to get pasture-raised if you can. Just got your new cookbook. Hey, thank you, Terry. And one thing I will say also, this recipe is not in Carefree Keto, but it's in Breaking Up with Carbs. So if you guys are looking for it in Carefree Keto, it's not in that one, but if you have Breaking Up with Carbs, it is in that book. And I'm also going to include the recipe in the caption. So now 2/3 cup of sweetener or 1/3 cup of powdered sweetener. Yo, kickin', let's definitely get some chickens. What's up, Mac? Hello from Denmark. And I'm gonna add some bonus ingredients. I have some low-carb chocolate chips that I need to get rid of. So we're gonna make them peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. Oh, and there's like crumblies in the bottom. That'll actually be good. Where can I buy your book? So you can get Carefree Keto on Amazon. We are stuck around 50 reviews. So if you guys have gotten it and you like it, please go to Amazon and leave a review. And if you do plan to get it, when you do, please leave a review on Amazon. And also, this is a different brand. So that was Bake Believe. I get them at Walmart. If you do the math, it is 4, 3. So these are 2 net carbs because they have 9 total carbs, but only 4 grams of fiber and 3 grams of erythritol. So these are 2 net carbs. And then these are also 2 net carbs, the lilies. I don't know why it doesn't say on the front packaging. I feel like it should. Made your frittata today, thank you. Oh, nice. What did you think? All right, guys, we gotta get to mixing these because they bake for 15 minutes, so I will do the talking then. Now we're just gonna mix these up. Yummy, yummy. And I don't know if I mentioned this when I was talking about powdered sweetener. So if you guys ever come across a recipe, all right, the oven is preheated. If you guys ever come across a recipe that requires powdered sweetener and all you have is just your regular allulose or truvia, I would say it's so easy to make your own. Just grab a blender or like a food processor and blend it up and it will become powdered sweetener. So that's a little tip also for some keto baking. And I just got over food poisoning. Otherwise, I would love to try some of this. I just don't want to risk eating the raw egg. Usually I eat cookie dough all the time. I just would hate to be sick, especially now because Anna and Sophia are visiting Anna's friends in Florida. So getting food poisoning again while being alone would be rough. It was so nice having Anna's help. Like, she went to Trader Joe's and got me soup. This was just granulated sweetener, just regular truvia. I didn't show the peanut butter I used, but it was natural. So natural peanut butter is always my go-to. It's lowest in carbs and it doesn't have weird ingredients. Brittany, they went to Orlando. All right, so roll it up into balls, like this. About 10 of them. What is powdered sugar? It's literally just blended up sugar, really. Oh, that's awesome, Brittany. Do you know what gave you food poisoning? I don't know what it was. We think it was this chicken that I made and left out, but I think also, that's like what me and Anna think, but I think it was this sauce we had from Chipotle that we left out for a while. That could have also been it. Hey, what's up, John and OG Turtle in the house? You could definitely use honey instead of keto sweetener. I just don't know what the ratio would be. And I don't want to say definitely. I would say you probably can. Because I really don't know definitely that it would work. Maybe the sweetener helps it like get the texture of a cookie. Is anybody in here an experienced baker, and can you say whether that's a good idea or not? Yeah, I could blame Chipotle. And look, I'm not saying that I cooked my chicken wrong, because I didn't. It's just that if it were the chicken that I made, it was the fact that I cooked it and then left it. I like forgot about it on the counter for an hour or two. More like 2 hours. And then put it in the fridge, and then we reheated it the next day. Your book is awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Evelyn. I'm glad you're enjoying it. All right, one of these, actually a few of these cookies are just really big. So we're gonna take a little bit of dough from each one and make a 9th cookie. Got your book, can't wait to dive in. Hey, you're gonna love it, John. All right, I just need a little bit more. This will make 1 cookie. Where can I order your book? You can get it on Amazon. Just type in Carefree Keto. And then once we get these pressed down with a fork, we bake for 15 minutes, and it's that easy. We are making cookies, Joel. So you press them down and give them that little fork imprintation. Like this. And I think this middle one is gonna bake weird because it came apart a little bit, so let me push it back together. All right, there we go. Now into the oven for like 10 or 15 minutes at 350. Honey is not keto friendly, so when the person asked about using honey, usually that's people who are, let me set a timer, and then I'll continue explaining. All right. Okay, so the thing about honey is this. A lot of people are doing low carb and not keto, and especially people nowadays may not even be doing a super low carb diet, but they're just eating like a natural foods paleo style diet. And for those people, yeah, honey is great. And a lot of those people, there's like crossover where recipes that keto people make, someone on a more paleo whole food style diet could modify a little bit to make fit with theirs. I mean, we're all on the same team. We're trying to overcome obesity. get away from the standard American diet and just improve our health. But some people, they find that they like having 100 carbs a day, or they like just focusing on eating only real food. And for those people, if you're doing a recipe like this and you don't want to use a keto sweetener, you totally can use honey. You're just not doing a keto diet at that point. You're doing a lower carb or just a whole food style diet. And declutter, same with maple syrup. And I'm talking about large quantities. If something has like a tiny bit of molasses, for example, the truvia brown sugar has like, I think, the tiniest amount of molasses to make it brown sugar, but it's still basically is 0 carbs because it's such a small amount. That would mean, oh, you're eating molasses, that's not keto, but that's not true. It's like, it's such a small amount that it's not affecting ketosis, even if you have 12 servings. So that's when it is okay to have ingredients like that on a keto diet, if it's in a super small amount. And a good example of that is shredded cheese. I was making sure I set the timer. So many people out here are like terrified of every little ingredient, and one of them is cornstarch. So there's like a tiny bit of cornstarch or potato starch in shredded cheese, and people avoid it because they think it's not keto. But you would literally, and I'm not hating on them, because whatever makes you feel healthy is what you should do, obviously. And if that makes you feel better than eating, like if avoiding pre-shredded cheese makes you feel better than eating pre-shredded cheese, you should avoid it, because do what makes you feel good. But at the end of the day, if you're just trying to do keto, be in ketosis, and be healthy, it really doesn't matter if you have 0.3 grams of potato starch in your shredded cheese, because you would have to eat 1,000 servings for it to, or let's like really do the actual math. If there are 0.3 grams of potato starch in a bag of shredded cheese, you would have to eat 10 servings for it to be 3 grams of carbs from potato starch. That is nowhere near kicking you out of ketosis. So you'd have to eat 100 servings for it to be 30 net carbs from potato starch. So if you buy a bag of pre-shredded cheese and you see potato starch on the label and you think to yourself, this is going to kick me out of ketosis, take a step back and remember, it would take 100 servings of this to actually kick me out of ketosis. Does that mean you shouldn't be mindful of certain ingredients? No, some people avoid vegetable oils. There are all sorts of things you can avoid to feel good. But if you're just trying to do keto and lose weight, and it's very overwhelming, all of the information you're getting online, just get back to the basics and be like, all right, 25 carbs a day, that's what I'm gonna do. And if my shredded cheese has potato starch in it, I'm not gonna worry about that, because I'm too lazy to shred my own cheese, not only because you have to go through the process of buying the block and shredding it, but also you have to store it and you have to clean the shredder. And I hate cleaning things. When I buy zucchini to make zucchini noodles, it's easy to make the zucchini noodles. But that giant spiralizer, or even if you have a handheld one, those things are so annoying to clean. So imagine adding that to, you have to now shred your own cheese too, which is another device you have to clean. And then eventually you're just like, this is way too overwhelming, I'm gonna give up. So for the average person who's just trying to get started, don't worry about that stuff. And if you're eating 100 servings of shredded cheddar cheese, you have other problems bigger than getting kicked out of ketosis. Read the labels. So many products that say they are keto friendly actually have ingredients that will kick you out of ketosis. Do you find that also? So I just went on this huge rant about potato starch and shredded cheese or whatever, but there are some ingredients that are worth avoiding. And to go back to the other side of the argument and defend the idea of reading ingredient labels, there is a time to read ingredient labels, and you know when that time is? When you're buying keto treats and sweet tasting foods and sweeteners. So anytime you go to the grocery, I don't really worry about ingredient labels if I'm buying normal food. You know, cheese, meat, vegetables, even like frozen savory meals. If I buy the Real Good Foods enchiladas, I'm not too worried about the ingredient label on that because there's nothing sweet in it. So as long as it fits in my carbs, I don't need to worry about the ingredients. But if you're buying keto treats, it is dangerous to just buy them blindly without looking at the ingredient label, because something like this, if it's made by the wrong brand who doesn't care about their ingredients, they could use maltitol to sweeten these chocolate chips. I actually just did a video on this, so I'll get it for you. So Hershey's Zero Sugar, the first ingredient on this thing, which claims to have 2 net carbs per serving, is maltitol. And maltitol does spike your blood sugar. It has about half the glycemic index of sugar, so it's not going to be as big of a spike as regular Hershey's, but you're still going to get a pretty big blood sugar spike. So when you're buying keto treats, you want to look on the ingredient label for maltitol, specifically in like pre-packaged treats, and then in sweeteners, you want to look for maltodextrin and dextrose. Those 3 ingredients will raise your blood sugar. So that's just something I wanted to throw out there for all of my free, like, dirty keto people. You know, if you don't worry about ingredient labels, I would consider looking at ingredient labels on desserts. That's the one thing that you do want to look at. And here's another one. I mean, when I first saw these, when I first started keto, I was like, oh my God, I can have M&Ms. There was an Atkins version, the Atkins Indulge M&Ms, and I was so excited about them. But if you look at this one, the first ingredient is chocolate candy, but then in parentheses, it says maltitol. So really the first ingredient on these is maltitol too. And I did some BioCoach videos on these where I used my BioCoach and showed what happened to my blood sugar. And it was not pretty. Yes, so maltodextrin and dextrose are the ones you want to look for if you're buying big bags of keto sweeteners or like the little packets of keto sweeteners. And then maltitol is the one you want to look for if you're buying pre-packaged keto treats. Yeah, Jewel. So for diabetes, that's another one where it's really important to check for those 3 ingredients, because so it's true that you don't have to do keto or even a low carb to reverse type 2 diabetes. It seems that just, or pre-diabetes, it seems that just getting to a healthy weight is really the key there. But keto and low carb are super helpful in that, and they could be like slightly more beneficial. So avoiding those sweeteners will make sure that you're getting the benefits of doing keto and losing weight or whatever, but also not spiking your blood sugar, which is just not great for diabetes. What's your favorite food? Probably a filet steak. So if you're wondering what kind of chocolate you can have, as I showed those that aren't good, like Lily's also has bars that are good. They have baking bars, they have baking chips. Lily's is like your go-to keto chocolate at the grocery store. This Bake Believe brand you can get at Walmart is also pretty good. I don't think these melt down as well. So if you're doing something where you're like melting chocolate chips and coating strawberries in them, you would want to use the Lily's. These actually do melt better. All right, we have 4 minutes before these cookies come out. We have In Mel's Kitchen in the house and OG Turtle. Hey, yes, the book is out. It is on Amazon, Carefree Keto. Hey, we got Dave and Donna in the house too. What is up? Yeah, I can say A, it's so bussin'. And also, like I said, like Lily's or Bake Believe would be fine in chocolate chip pancakes. What is a good keto green powder or juice? I'm actually not familiar with any keto green powders or juices. That's when I first started living a low carb lifestyle, I did get into green smoothies, and I would like blend up avocado with celery and peanut butter and like all of these like vegetables and spinach. It was not good. But at this point, I don't do any of that, and I feel great. But if you do, I'm not sure. Guys, if you don't know what ChatGPT is, I'm sure most of my viewers aren't using it regularly. But if there's ever a question you have for me that I haven't answered yet, just go to like openai.com and use the ChatGPT feature, and it will answer the question for me in a much better way, because it literally just like compiles everything that's been published on the internet and gives you an answer based on that. So if you ever DM me and I don't get to it and you have this question and you want like a valid opinion on it, ChatGPT will give you a good answer. I just feel like I need to disclaim that, because I use that to answer questions that I have where like if I ask someone I don't get a response. So is there a vitamin that has multiple vitamin minerals without individually doing them? We take a multivitamin. We get the one at Costco. It's very cheap compared to getting it anywhere else. And then as far as like electrolytes, not really. Ultima is a good drink, but you still want to get some extra magnesium, especially before bed. I take magnesium glycinate. All right, we have 54 seconds. Let me turn the oven light on and just look at them before I open the door. I think they need like another minute or two. We're gonna leave them in for like 2 more minutes. But I take magnesium individually. I take potassium individually. And fish oil is another one I take individually. When Anna was pregnant, we tried to get this supplement. I forget what brand it was. We got this, it was like a DHA prenatal that had the DHA in it. And DHA is like fish oil. So we got this prenatal that had fish oil built into it. But we must have been getting bad batches, because every time we would buy it and like open it, it smelled funny. And that's how you know the fish oil you're buying is like rancid, which is not good. It means it's oxidized and no longer beneficial. So we like got a different brand. But yeah, I feel like fish oil, electrolytes, and multivitamin. And then you can get a vitamin D3 with K2. But yeah, it is complicated. Like when you really try to optimize your vitamin routine, just start with the multivitamin, see how you feel. And then depending on which issues you're having, you can address things from there. Like I think magnesium is something everyone could benefit from, and then vitamin D3 with K2. And every time I say D3 with K2, that is just like the kind of vitamin D you want to get. So if your vitamin D and magnesium are 2 of the really most important ones you want to supplement, they kind of work together as well, which is great. How do you do portion control? The key to portion control is protein. It's if you have high protein at each meal, you don't need to do this like version of keto where it's moderate protein. That's for children with epilepsy who need to be in like a super deep state of ketosis and eat 80% of their calories from fat. Anyone else who's trying to do keto does not need moderate to low like protein. You can have very high protein and be in ketosis. Being under 1 on your keto meter, like between 0.5 and 1 is actually great. So you don't need to be, once you do keto for a long time, your ketones really aren't sky high anyway. So it means your body's using them more efficiently. So stop chasing really high ketones, prioritize getting protein. That will help you stay full for much longer. Like, instead of thinking of keto as this magical thing where you eat a bunch of cream cheese and lose weight, think of keto as like, this is a diet that kind of forces me to eat more protein because I'm no longer eating carbs. And that protein is what really makes it easier to lose weight because it helps control my appetite. It has less calories per gram than like fat. It's not as like easy to overeat on as carbs. So focus your meals on protein and use fat to make the meals taste good. And if you take that approach, you'll still be eating a high fat diet. It just won't be as unnecessarily high as many people's meals are when they're just focused on getting as much fat as possible. Like, focus on getting as much protein as possible and just use the fat to make it taste good. All right, we're gonna take the cookies out. I need a pair of mittens. And let me put them right here. Some of the chocolate like melted out of them because I didn't put them together super well, but yummy, yummy. I'm actually gonna take them off of this hot pan. So if you want your food to cool faster, just place the parchment paper on a drying rack. There we go. And that's how you make 3-ingredient peanut butter cookies. Dang, Liz, you haven't had any keto treats in 12 weeks. I'm using the oven, Jewel. I don't like doing these baking recipes in the air fryer because it doesn't cook as evenly as like the actual oven. Kim, so if you've gained 2 pounds, first thing I would do is measure your inches over like a month-to-month basis and see what your progress looks like in that way. And if you're still not seeing progress, do what I was just talking about. Think of keto as like focus on protein, focus on vegetables, use fat to make it taste good. And that's really the key to weight loss. Like, getting out of the mindset of just filling up on cream cheese and nuts and blocks of butter. Like, that mindset is good for some people, but for most of us, it's just way too easy to overeat like super high fat and then not get a ton of protein. Like, you want to eat high fat and high protein, but you don't want to eat excessively high fat. And if that doesn't work for you, just tracking your calories, like nothing in the world guarantees weight loss like tracking your calories, especially if you're doing high protein, low carb. All right, guys, I'm gonna try and eat one. I don't care if they're like, the one that I try to eat is going to crumble because you have to let these sit for a while. But I'm just gonna take a bite of one because I have to go to the grocery in a minute. And I don't think I'll be able to sit here for another 15 minutes while they cool. Ooh, ow. I touched a burning piece of chocolate. So if you try to get impatient and eat your cookies before they cool, this is what happens. They crumble apart. I'm sure you know that. Do you eat beans on keto? No. you can have a small amount. Like if you put 2 tablespoons of beans, say you're making, if you want to recreate the beefy 5-layer burrito and you want to make a keto version on a low-carb tortilla, you really can do that. Yeah, Guinness, these are from the first book. You really can recreate like recipes that use beans and just use a small amount. But you don't want to be eating like a cup of beans because that's going to have, what, like 14 net carbs, which still isn't crazy high. But and they're paired with fiber, so you're not going to get the biggest blood sugar spike from them. So realistically, like a few tablespoons of beans are fine, but you don't want to make them the center of your meals. The cookies are just sweetener, egg, and peanut butter. And then I got we had some low-carb chocolate chips that I added. All right, I think this is cool enough. I've never put white chocolate chips in these. Oh my god. So freaking good. Wow. That with like some milk would be so good. I used the Crazy Richard's Natural Crunchy. I've also never done it with crunchy peanut butter, so I'm impressed. All right, guys. I don't know if you can do it with almond butter. But all right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I love you. I believe in you. If you have the book Carefree Keto, please go to Amazon and leave a review. Thank you guys so much for everyone who's gotten it and left a review. I love you guys. I believe in you. I'll see you tomorrow.